The Broad Perspective Network is not responsible for the content of the following program.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to The Broad Perspective on the Broad Perspective Network. We're glad you're with us today. I'm Vivian Kamori. I'm your host, and we have a guest in the studio today who is going to be joining us and sharing all kinds of wisdom and thoughts. And our guest for today is Corey Cofield. He's frequently known as Corey the Entrepreneur, and Corey is an entrepreneur. You're going to find out some of what his entrepreneurial ventures are and what gives him the life, the life experience to share with all of us and all the people that he wants to connect with around the world with some of his wisdom, insights, and he is quite inspirational. The one thing I can say, because I've listened to Corey speak many different times, is he's authentic, and he is real, and he is passionate. You see, authentic, in my opinion, is probably the most valuable attribute that anybody can have. Any of us can talk, and we can talk from our heads all day long, but when we talk from our hearts, we're authentic, and Corey has that. And I want to welcome you, Corey, to The Broad Perspective.
Thank you for having me.
You're
Hello,
welcome.
world, Broad Perspective audience and worldwide listeners.
Yeah, he's got a big smile today, so and it's way early in the morning here where we're recording for this show, so we're all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, I guess you could say.
Yeah. It's good to do things first thing in the morning.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I have a lot better energy first thing in the morning, and plus, if you have to go out and about, it's much less crowded. You just can get things done so much quicker.
I like getting up early. It's like I know that I'm above and I'm before my competition because most people still sleep. Mm-hmm. If you get up at 4 in the morning, you think about that. You have a couple hours on your competitors because, like I said, most people waking up 7:30, 8. Just in time to get to wherever they have to be, but
exactly.
I like getting up early and on purpose.
See, there you go. Yeah. Who was it? Benjamin Franklin said, "Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise."
Okay.
I tell my girlfriends that are single and they don't know how to go meet guys. I said, here's what you do: you go to those stores like Home Depot and Lowe's early in the morning. Early in the morning, because the guys that are in there early in the morning, they're ambitious.
Wow, that's a good point.
It's true.
Man, that is.
But they're getting their stuff and they're getting it done. And of course, a lot of them aren't going to be single, but there are going to be some that are.
Wow.
And that's the kind of person you want to look for, somebody that's got that ambition, that motivation.
And they're working.
Exactly.
They have a source to getting income.
There you go. And I tell this story. This happened recently. I was visiting my parents in Arizona. My dad's in his 80s, and he has always been an early riser, always. And he's a successful man. I can say he's retired, and yet he isn't. I mean, he still sees patients. He still does what he does. I don't know how to say that. But anyway, so I'm up at 5:30 because I'm getting ready to drive back to California. So I'm getting things packed up in my car, and I'm thinking, I don't hear Dad in the kitchen now. My mom's not well. She's not up and at 'em so early anymore. But I don't understand why Dad's not up. So I get my car loaded up, and I still don't see my dad, and I can't figure out what's going on. And I hear this noise, this buzz, and I look down a couple doors down from where they live, and he's trimming the neighbor's trees with a chainsaw. It's one of those chainsaws on a pole. Yeah. So, and this was early in the morning. I'm sure the neighbors were thrilled, but that's.
But getting it done early.
He's getting her done. Yeah, exactly.
I like that whole attitude. It took me a while to develop that. But once I got it and once I seen the benefits of it, then I stayed on, and I just love getting up early. Most times it's by 4 a.m.
Wow.
Because I feel like if I'm up at 4, it's like the air smells different.
Yeah.
Like when you go out to the gym, it's like the gym seems different. I mean, you can just feel the energy that being an early riser brings. It's amazing, and I would suggest everyone to get up early.
Yes.
Period.
I agree, and I stick to that. That those are. I know everybody has a biological clock. Some people are night people. Some people are morning people, etc. But I still think morning people are the people that really do get things done. That's my theory.
But I think when it comes to morning people or night people, I think it's all in one's perspective. Like, what do you think you are?
Yeah.
Ultimately, because if someone was giving you $10 million to get up in the morning, I guarantee you'll be up.
Oh yeah.
The person who say I'm not a morning person, give them money and an incentive to get up.
Right.
Then they get up. And most people that say they're not morning people, I think I don't want to say they're not really getting up with a purpose, but because I guess when you get up with a purpose, it's different. It's like, how can you not be a morning person? When I'm sleeping, it's like, am I missing something? You know, I can be going harder on my dream or going harder on the area I'm going towards, but I'm asleep. So when I wake up, it's like I'm here, like Fred Flintstone. You remember him in the car? He running and his feet. He holding up the car because he trying to go faster than the car can take him.
Yes.
And that's how I feel. It's like I'm itching to get up and I'm itching to get on my meditations. I'm itching to get believing and getting to imagining and dreaming, because I feel like the more I'm doing that, the more I'm pulling that thing towards me. So every moment I'm up, I'm focused on that. Like, so when I get up at 4, it's like I'm to it. Like I start imagining at that point, I start visualizing everything I wanted and myself in situations, all the way down to like smelling the scent of the new car. Like I'm excited to get up because I have to get this. And I feel like if my mind is asleep, like I can't visualize. I can't dream like I want to on purpose on certain things. So I'm rushing to get up so I can get that process going, because the more I get to it and the faster I get to it, the more I draw it to myself. Like I think so. That's why I'm just like 4 o'clock. I'm popping up. Like, let's go.
Wow.
Yeah.
I gotcha. I like that. I notice that you've said this a few times in our conversation, when you get up on purpose. Can you define that for me, please?
You know, I think a lot of people just jump up and run out the house. You know, they get up with, they may have a few things they need to do that day when they got them, stored up in their mind. They're like, okay, I got to get some breakfast, meat, I have to go, wash the clothes. They got all these little things going around, but none of it is not a purposeful move. Like, they get up with a bunch of stuff they knowing they got to do. But when I say get up on purpose, I mean on purpose is I'm getting up, I'm lining my day up. I know from this time to this time I got to meditate on something. I know I have to intake my body with positive stuff. I know I have to build my mind. So I have to do all this before I get out and get into the day, because once you get in the day, the hustle and bustle comes. So I feel like getting up on purpose is literally getting up, intentionally building yourself and preparing yourself, hydrating yourself, doing some exercise, get the movement going, all that kind of stuff. So that's what I call getting up on purpose, which you get up intentionally, following a designated plan to succeed, pretty much.
Wow. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Because for me, I've always thought, I always kind of taken, maybe it's the lazy person's way to think of in terms of purpose, but I always thought my purpose was whatever I'm doing right now. This is my purpose. Right now, my purpose is to interview you. My purpose is to get to know you better. My purpose is to, after this, is to carry on with whatever else I need to do. But I think sometimes purposes maybe has a greater context, and I think that's what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah, I'm not talking about the purpose of why am I here, like you said, or what am I doing, but on purpose means intentionally. Like, I'm making designated time to go over mantras. Okay. Where it's not just like it just happens.
Right.
It's I purposely do this. Like I'm setting myself up for this every single morning.
See, I think that's really important, what you just said, because there's a consciousness to that. You see, we're constantly creating, whether we realize it or not.
Right.
We are creating. And so, see, you're creating with intention. You're creating, my thought is, you're creating the morning that you want. You're creating the purpose that you want, because you've got it into your consciousness. and you're going, okay, this is what I want to create today. And see, we do that all day long. We do it, but we just don't know we do it. So when we do it consciously, there's the ticket, and that's what you're doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you said it better than I ever could have said it, and I thank you for saying it. Because I can explain it better hearing, just like you said. Exactly. That's what I mean. I grew up with so much negative energy. And it wasn't because I was such in a bad situation, because I grew up with, my mom she was a single parent. My mom and dad separated, but my dad was still in my life. He stayed somewhere else in another home, but we went with him every other weekend. And my mom was a businesswoman. She owned homes and, arcades and stuff like this, but it was still so much negative energy and just about what was said. It wasn't a lot of attention paid to words and words that you said to each other. So people would say different things to you, and my mom would just be expressing herself.
Sure.
But she didn't know that I was taking that stuff or feeling some sort of way about it. So I don't blame her, but it's just, or anybody else. I guess it was part of what I needed to be who I am. But I just know now that I just like to pour positive stuff in myself all day long. In my subconscious mind, I'm just filling it up, literally, because I just feel like you are what you think about most.
Okay, I'll agree with that to a point, but I think we are who we are, who we are, who we are. I think also that negativity is getting a bad rap. I think that there's a place for negativity, that we live in a world of duality. So we're going to have positive, we're going to have negative. And there's a time when negativity is appropriate. We somehow, right now, the buzzword is positive. Right now, we have this whole mantra, the world think. I have friends that are so positive thinkers, they're not real. They're not authentic at all. None whatsoever. I hate to say this, they don't feel real at all. And it's so fake because they feel like they have to be positive. It's not a genuine positivity, you see, and there's a difference. There's a difference. Like, an earthquake just hit Haiti and destroyed these people's everything. But let's look at the positive side of this. Right now, you know what? I don't think there's a positive side right now. It may take a minute, because I really want to extend some heart energy to these people, because they're going through a lot, and they're not thinking so positive. You follow me? And so there needs to be a fine balance between positive and negative. That's my theory. I think positivity is important, but it's not the solution that we think it is, because we live in a world of duality, and both energies have to be understood. Once we understand energy, understanding how energy works and photons is the key to everything. So I think you're absolutely right as far as positive goes, but we have to be careful that it doesn't allow reality to be. Because this is my theory. I could be wrong. Corey, you may be 100% right. Just don't allow those negative things, those thoughts in there. Like in the case of your mother, see, she was probably a realist. At that time, she was feeling her life was probably the way it was, and she was feeling what she was thinking, so there was a reality to her, and that's got a huge value.
Exactly.
And so,
right.
I
believe that.
Yeah.
I think it's necessary. I really did. I mean, I really do. And what you're saying, I definitely can see that part of it, because if it wasn't dark, you couldn't see light.
Exactly.
And how would you know if you didn't know, if you was never hungry, you wouldn't know full. So yeah. I see exactly what you mean. And I heard this story. I was reading this book. I forget the name of it, but they talked about this guy that was in this boat, and him and his son went over to the reef, and in the bottom of it, they said his reef was it was all vibrant. And a lot of fish and things was around it, and it was getting beat up and all this. And then they went to the other reef where the water was still, and they were dying. And he asked the guy, like, why is this? And he said, because that water beating against those reefs, it keeps it living, it keeps it vibrant and moving, right? And the other one is just dying because there's no activity, even though it's so much peace. but there's no activity, so you dying. So that I automatically thought of that story when you said that. So I could see the relevance in what you're saying.
What a great story. That's real. That's real, you see.
Right.
What a great story. We're going to take a break and ponder that one. That's a good one. I will remember that one, Corey. We'll be back in just a moment with more of our visit with Corey Cofield. Stay tuned.
Hello, I am His Majesty the Soul, King of Mauritius, and I invite you to help me build the world's planetary egg, an ecological geophysical galleon. It's approximately 180 acres, and it is home to 3,000 researchers from around the world. It is the world's first sovereign planetary independent jurisdiction that has the capability of advancing and progressing and fast-tracking every aspect of innovation, helping us redefine what it means to be human in a new world. So check out our website. It's www.mauricii.com. MORACEAE.com. I look forward to seeing you, and please contribute, donate to the GoFundMe page. I look forward to meeting you, and let's build the planetary egg. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Broad Perspective on the Broad Perspective Network. We're continuing our visit with Corey Cofield, and we were talking about purpose and positive thinking, etc., etc. One of the things, though, I want to talk about is you were known as, or what people call you as, Corey the Entrepreneur, and I think that's probably justified because I know you've worn a lot of hats in your life. I consider myself an entrepreneur, and see, I don't think people really understand what an entrepreneur is, but I think that an entrepreneur is, I think the definition of an entrepreneur is a crazy person, because you have to be crazy to do all the things that an entrepreneur does.
Yeah.
Because we're risk takers.
Right.
We take risks when sometimes we shouldn't take risks.
Right.
We take risks when sometimes we should. But we just, there's a whole different energy to an entrepreneur. And once you can understand that and tap into it, it's like, who was it? Ray Kroc, the guy that founded McDonald's. He had so many things that failed over time, and his wife was ready to divorce him, but he just kept trying, and that's what we do. That's what we do.
I heard someone say you first you jump off the cliff and build wings on the way down.
There you go. I agree. I completely 100%.
That's the life of an entrepreneur.
Yeah, exactly.
But I wouldn't have it any other way. And I believe that we all were meant to be an entrepreneur in some sort of way. Because if you think about it, back in the day, if you were a tent maker, your family was a tent maker. That was the way you provided for your family. Or if you was a craftsman, or whatever you was, whatever your talent was or your gift, that's how you ate. And your family also ate with you. But now it seemed like everyone's is just they jumping on every other person's dream, like McDonald's or Walmart. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Walmart, all those people had a dream, and now they got like thousands of people working for them, and people have stopped dreaming, I believe. And I think that's a lot of problems what's going on in that. That's a lot of what the issue is today with people and why they so upset and hurt, because people have stopped dreaming. They're going to jobs they don't want to be at. Yep. They're in relationships they don't want to be in. They feel trapped. They have all these ideas pent up inside that they feel like that they have no way to express them. Right. You know, and it's coming out in all kind of different frustrations. And the guy who shot everybody over at the game, the Madden game, I don't think he would have done that if he would have won. You know,
right.
I mean, just to be real, you know.
Yeah.
So he lost. So I mean, that was probably his dream. That was probably like the thing that he really wanted to do. Now I'm not showing sympathy because it's, I mean,
No.
you know, but I'm
I
just
get
saying
it.
why people do what they do. You know?
Right. Right. There's always going to be 1,000 reasons. Sometimes there's a fine line between a reason and an excuse. And I think we do make those up for people, and sometimes it still doesn't justify a behavior. It helps explain it a little bit. It explains a little bit about a person. It explains a little bit about the reception of a behavior. But I get what you're saying. He probably wouldn't have shot up everybody if he'd have won. So what do we do now? Do we throw games because that person's volatile and we're afraid they'll shoot us? I got to tell you, there is that mentality. I don't know about you, but I have been around people that you just get that vibe from them. You just get that vibe, and you know that you just better let them have their space,
Right.
because otherwise there's going to be hell to pay.
Like the kid, you didn't pick him. He took his ball and went in the house. Back in the days, like, you know, I'm trying to promote people living their dreams more than ever. I'm screaming it out loud. I'm telling people, I really believe that your provision is in your purpose. People are going looking for all these different places and all these different sources to provide for them. But you can't go to another man's dream and think he's going to pay you more than he's making. And he's going to pay you all this great amount of money, all this benefits and all this stuff. Like it, I mean, people pay you enough, but you can't expect to do better than a man.
Come on, Corey, you're an entrepreneur. I am. I've done it. I've paid them more than I've made. I've paid people to help me more than I've made. More than once.
But I'm talking about ultimately, though, you're not going to
I
go
know.
under for someone else.
Exactly.
You know, is what I'm saying. You're right, because I got to admit, like my team, you know, on the production side, I definitely pay them well, like more than I make. You know,
It happens all the time.
Yeah, but I'm saying ultimately, people, when you want to just, you know, ultimately make all this stuff and get all these benefits, then you have to launch your own dream. And most people have an idea. Most people have an idea right now. If people listening, if you think right now, what's that idea? Everyone can come up with something in their mind that they say, man, I should be doing this, or they have that little hint in their mind of something they want to do. And I think if you thought of it, one, you was absolutely meant to do it, and two, you was absolutely meant to be successful at it if you thought of an idea.
But here's the thing. So many people are we're all different.
True.
There was a book called 1 Minute Millionaire, written some time ago. I want to say it has, I think maybe at least one of the authors was one of the same Chicken Soup for the Soul guys.
Okay.
And in the 1 Minute Millionaire, there was this test called the HOTS test. And it stood for hare, owl, rabbit, and turtle. It was a personality profile. So you would take this personality profile and it would tell you which one of those animals was most likely associated with you. I learned something so valuable with that. At the time, when we were reading this book, it was about helping other people realize their dreams, and in turn they would help you. So it was how to have a group of people, because we don't all have the same attributes. So how to work within a group to make things happen for each person. Well, so I had this group, I think it was 10, 12 other women, and we had it's called Billionaire Idea Group. And we met once a week, and we were putting forth all these ideas on ways that we could do whatever it was we wanted to do. We weren't really making a lot of progress, though. We weren't really, because we were trying to decide whose idea to implement first. Well, then we saw this HOTS test. We took this HOTS test, and here's the outcome of this group of people, and it tells you exactly why nothing was happening. I'm going to say there were 10. Let's just say there were 10. I think there were a few more, but for example purposes, there were 10. Now, first of all, the hare, it represents the idea people. They're the people that have ideas. The owl is the action person. They're the ones that will take that idea and run with it. Do the work, make things happen. The turtle is the naysayer. They're the ones that go, oh, that won't work and you think they're negative. They are so valuable. If you don't have a turtle on your team, you can forget it, because they're the ones that are going to say, you know, that widget, that corner is too sharp. somebody could fall, you're looking at lawsuits, or that whatever it is, you need them to look at what you don't see because you're so busy in your starry, rosy-eyed positivity, you can't see that you've got a flaw in your product. They're super important. We tend to think of them as naysayers, oh, like Eeyore, oh, golly gee. But they're really important. And then you've got the squirrel. They're the methodical person. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. They're your mathematical people. But you need them. You need them. They need to see when you lay out your plan and you know what you're going to do. They're the ones that say the first thing you want to implement is this, and so on and so forth. All these people are very valuable. Okay, so back to our billionaire idea group. Big is what we call ourselves. The test, we all took it. Out of 10, 9 of us were hares. 9 people were hares. And that means we had 9 people with great ideas. Great ideas. Then we had 1 owl. We had no turtles and no squirrels. None. So, and I was the owl. So I had all these people with all these ideas that wanted me to implement everything.
Wow.
Now let me go back because there was one girl. Say there was 11 because there was one woman who was a combination hair owl, and she was an idea person and an implementer. But I will say on that, they did all come together and help me with, actually it's still my idea, but they helped me, and I made $35,000-$40,000 on this idea. It wasn't a lot, but it taught me something, and it taught me a lot about working on a team and knowing what's important. And can we all be those animals? Can we all have those? Yes, but some people have it naturally, and that's the ones you want to. That's the ones you want to work with. There was a women's conference after that I was doing here in this valley. It was an enormous undertaking, and we expected to have, I think it was 1,500 people at this event. And when my team assimilated for that, I had them once again take that test. And when the results came back, I knew exactly who I could count on to do different tasks for the conference. I knew better than to call on somebody for as a hare, an idea person, if I needed a chore done, because they're just not capable of doing it. That's not who they are. You follow me? Mm-hmm. So I think that understanding a person's nature is really helpful when you move on. And I got to tell you, that was an enormous realization for me, a very helpful thing. And I know I've been talking a lot on this, but it is something that I think helps other people as well, especially entrepreneurs as they move forward in ventures. And you can probably tell, because I know you do a lot with filming. We'll talk about that in a minute and things like that. So you probably know on your team people that are better at certain things than other, and people you can count on for certain aspects, and people you can't count on. And we all have our areas of expertise, but understanding what those are is an enormous bonus.
Interesting. 1 Minute Millionaire? Yeah. I have to check that out. Yeah, that'll save you time.
Oh yeah, a lot of time. A lot of time.
Wow, I like that.
Absolutely. So yeah, as an entrepreneur, tell us, and we'll probably talk about this extensively more in the next session as well, but tell us a little bit more about some of your entrepreneurial ventures that you've learned from.
Well, I've been an entrepreneur for probably around 20 years. So I started back in Detroit doing nursing. So I started a blood draw company.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Independent services for seniors.
Okay.
So I went out and done like blood draws and took UAs and all this kind of stuff for seniors that was in their home. So I got to meet a lot of people. And that taught me a lot about being on, like organizing my time and having to be somewhere to draw something at a certain time. I remember I showed up late one time and the lady just cussed me out so bad.
Oh.
She like, my time is important too, Sonny.
Yeah,
I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot on that. But most of my ventures has been in the entertainment industry as far as music. I used to have a label deal with Outlaw Records, which had a label deal with Universal back in '90. So I started off doing music, hip hop, rapping, and stuff like that. And I learned a lot about when I put this record out and it came time to get paid, and I seen how much the label recouped. and I learned about this word recoupable. Oh my God, recoupable was a terrible word to me. When I found out that they have to get every single dime back they put on me before I seen a penny, and so I put we did all this work, and I didn't make any money because by law the label owner could hold the money until he got every piece of money that he put into it, which he didn't because I just dropped.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was. I learned a lot about doing a lot for myself then. Because I can do it cheaper. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And see, this is really important. Entrepreneurs, we learn along the way because we do all these things like you were just saying, but that's it. The whole thing about everything in life is learning in the process. Because we know this. What do we learn from the most? Our failures. And boy, I've had them. I've made a lot of money. I've lost as much money as I've made. I've lost a lot of money. I've made a lot of money, but it's all part of the process.
It is.
And entrepreneurs are what has built this country. They are what has made America great. They really are. I call them wildcatters. They're the king and queen of entrepreneurs. They're the wildcatters. They're the ones. You know who was Getty, those kinds of people. They were wildcatters. Right. They took enormous risks, and that's, I think, what it's all about. They talk about calculated risks. Oh, they want you to be careful. Nah, that's not that. No. It's like you said, jump off the cliff and build wings on the way down.
Absolutely.
I like that, Corey. We're going to take another break. We'll be back in just a moment with our visit with Corey Cofield.
The 12th Hour. A show literally about everything. A candid discussion between friends about their different perspectives on what they think may be going on.
Or what is not going on.
With so many different areas of information being given out, we attempt to put together the puzzle pieces to create the broad perspective of the whole picture.
Welcome back to the Broad Perspective on the Broad Perspective Network. I'm Vivian Kamori, and we are continuing our visit with Corey Cofield today. We're talking about entrepreneurial ventures. I know that you have been involved in the music industry, and you still are. You do videos and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your path to all that.
Well, I own a production company called I-60 Studios, like Isaiah 60 Studios. So we do film, commercials, like websites, logos, t-shirts, all that kind of stuff. And all that started from, like I said, me being an artist. And once I seen the labels were charging me all this money, and they probably had some deal with some guy in some back office doing all the work and then telling me whatever they wanted to tell me, how much it cost. So that's how I felt. So I started doing everything myself. So once I started doing my own stuff, people would see it. And they were like, wow, I like that. And I shot a music video with a couple friends of mine, and it just went from there. So, so now that's what we do. I said we give you an industry look without an industry budget.
Ooh, that's nice.
Because I went through that whole process of not being able to have music videos or commercials for my stuff because I couldn't afford it. So now I like to try to make people. I want to give people the opportunity to have their stuff look just as big as Chrysler if you sell cars, because it's all about advertising.
Sure.
If we can shoot something to make you look just like the big fellas, like people can't tell the difference. So that's my goal now, is to give small businesses and people with dreams, give them the opportunity to have big videos and commercials and logos and websites, all at a high level. That looks like they paid thousands, but they didn't necessarily have to do that. So that's my goal, and it's more than just wanting to make money for me. It's wanting to build other entrepreneurs, other dreamers.
Okay, I like that.
Right.
I like that a lot. Now, with with the idea of music videos. And I think, once again, see that your experience of producing your own album and finding out you weren't going to get anything from it, which is real common. It's an industry.
Right, it is.
It's a commonality. But see, I don't know that you'd really call that a failure. It wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
I don't think it was a failure at all. And this is another problem that I have with everything in our culture, is unless you're making money, that they only determine success by money, and I don't like that, because you can be so successful on the experience, and maybe it didn't bring in money, but that shouldn't be the litmus test for whether or not something was successful. It's what did you take away from it? Mm-hmm. What did you learn that you can take on to the next adventure?
Right. Well, I think looking back and just piggybacking off what you just said, it made money, but just not then. Because now the stuff I learned, that's what I'm making money off of. So if I never would have done none of that, it's like, what would I be doing now? Like
Exactly. And the other thing is, you've also learned who you don't want to be.
Exactly.
You don't want to be that record company or that whatever that makes it hard for anybody to make money and come out ahead. They don't have the best interest of their artists at heart at all. They're all about what's in it for them. So they'll take any young artist that's out there and get them excited about producing something, but they do it on the backs of the artist.
Right. I mean, when I look at my contract, I had a 3-year deal with 2 3-year options. Now, I mean, so they had me locked down for 3 years, and after that 3 years, they had 2 more options of 3 years that they could exercise, and I had no right to get out.
Wow.
So they was going to pick those 3 years up anyway. So ultimately, they signed me. I thought I was for 3 years, but actually it was 6. And when I looked at the turnaround, I was only getting 0.3 cent off of $1.
Oh gosh.
So that so you can imagine how that worked out. So it's like, but the experience I learned in that situation, like I said, it brought me to where I am now, where we do mostly everything when it comes to multimedia promotion, stuff like that, SEO. Just helping people build their brand.
Yes.
Because that's what it's about right now.
Yes.
You got all these free resources like Facebook and Instagram. This is the biggest time in history it's ever been to get many views and attention at such a cheap cost.
Yes.
Now, you can get a Facebook ad for nothing almost and reach 100,000 people. Or Instagram, you can boost all these things. Where back in the day, you had to pay thousands to get to these people.
Right.
But so all these people won't take advantage of that. I'm saying, if you have a business, you have to take advantage of the free resources, the Twitter, all this stuff, because it's all about content and building people one by one. So if you're putting out content, if you're just putting out little things on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook about your business, slowly but surely it's going to spread around. You buy some of those ads to boost the ad. Mm-hmm. For $100 and something you can get before thousands of people. Those little things you can't purchase on TV or radio anymore.
Right.
So I think people, it's the best time in history to build a business or a brand right now. So if anyone have that idea and brands, just jump out and do it, because now you can do it.
And you know how to do all that stuff, right?
Right.
That's huge value, because it's like talking a foreign language to me. I'm old, so I've avoided all that so much, and I'm realizing to my own detriment that I haven't kept up with it like I should.
Well, it's still doable.
Yeah, it's never too late, because I have another entrepreneurial idea that I'll be tackling, and like real soon.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, whatever we could do to help, I said, logos, all that kind of stuff. We do it at that level, like I said, a high level, period. Mm-hmm. So that people they won't know the difference.
Right.
From if you had millions or if you didn't, people wouldn't know based upon stuff we do, because I don't want it to be a difference. Like you only had a couple grand, so your website looks like bootleg and all this. I'm like, no, we can't do it. We got to turn out high quality stuff all the time.
Cool. So that's your latest venture, in addition to your public speaking.
Right.
Your
my passion.
Your passion. Yeah. Tell us about your passion.
Well, public speaking, I've always, spoke in different ways with other being on the microphone back in the music business. So I always had a message to tell. And even when I was adamantly going after my music career and writing, I always wanted to write music and songs that help inspire people, to give people, hope. And that's what my music was about. So now I just do that through speaking. And I always knew that I would be on the stage in front of thousands of people, but I always thought it would be being a rapper. But I never knew that it could be in this fashion, going around speaking to people. We do a lot of halfway houses, do a lot of places like that, prisons, even though I don't have a criminal record myself, but some kind of way I found the love and for the people who have made mistakes like that. So we just go out and tell people that you can make it. It's not over.
Good for you. There's a need for that. There is a need for that. Yeah, some positivity and some hope for people who have been incarcerated.
Right.
Sometimes by their own volition, and other times with no fault of their own. But that's our system of sometimes justice or sometimes injustice.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think it's very needed. I think that those people all need encouragement and inspiration.
Right. Well, I think most times is the lack of a dream that got them there, because if you were following, I think music to me was so huge because it saved my life. Like, I left home at 14 years old in the streets of Detroit. And I did all kind of stuff to survive. And thank God he protected me. But in that time, I learned so much different stuff. And I couldn't go all the way out. It's because I wanted to be a rapper. Like, I wanted to do that so bad, is that I stayed in the studio. I was always around people that wrote songs, open mics where you can go perform, and it kept me from being in the streets. Even though I was in the streets, but I didn't go all the way out there because I had a dream. I didn't see myself as a drug dealer or, a street guy. I was a rapper. And I was a rapper that had to do this other stuff to survive so I thought.
Yeah.
Because that's all I thought I had to do. But really and truly, I wanted to be a rapper. So that saved my life, And I think most people get off of their dream some way or the other through childhood. In some way or the other, they turn and make a left,
Yes.
So I think if you get people back on that, most of the places that we go, people are excited to hear, like, wow, it ain't over. Like, wow, when you tell them, look, no, dust that dream off, get back up, let's go. You failed, but in a war, nobody's caring about how you arrive at the finish line. They don't care if you dirty, you got dirt under your nails. It don't matter. As long as we get to the finish line. People so obsessed about getting to the end, looking so pretty and smelling so good. Like I don't care. I'm in the dirt, so what? If I arrive, when I show up, it may be dirty, muddy, or whatever else, but I'll be there.
That's right. That's
Period.
right.
Most people have that mentality, quit focusing so much on trying to be so good, trying to be so perfect, and stop every little thing you're doing in your life. Look, let's just go. Pick your dream up and go.
I love that. That is so right on. That is so right on, because you miss the journey. You miss the ride. And again, it comes from being authentic, you see. And I think I was having this conversation with Nancy Burroughs, who spoke at Toastmasters on Monday. I think that people will forgive all kinds of mistakes. If you're a public speaker and you forget where you were, or you say something grammatically incorrect, they don't care. They really don't care, as long as you're speaking from your heart.
Exactly.
If you're speaking BS from your head, stuff you think you have to say that it's rote, there's a whole different energy attached to it. But if you're coming from your heart, people don't care. You could make all kinds of mistakes. Yes, we want to be professionals. That's true. But they're not gonna hold it against you if you're speaking from your heart. I really believe that. And if they do, you really don't care then either.
Well, I want to be authentic. I truly do. And I heard someone say that the biggest crock of mess they've heard is these companies that say they want to be authentic, and then they go out and do these surveys on what people like so they can be like that.
Oh yes.
You know, it's like I want to draw the people that I'm meant to draw. The people that connect to me, I want those kind of people. I want the people that say, "Oh, I understand his story and I'm rolling with him." Because that way, if I get authentic people, if I do make a mistake, like you said, you know, people, oh, hey, you know, it's not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But if I put this front on that I'm this person and I'm so this, that, the minute I make a mistake, people gonna jump ship and don't trust me no more. Because they like, oh, I knew he was fake.
Yeah.
You know, no,
Yep.
Sometimes I may say something that I shouldn't. But I'm gonna be the first person to say, you know what? Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. You know, I shouldn't have done that. You know, I shouldn't have done that. And we gonna keep moving, you know.
Yeah. I think that I would like to think that the majority of humanity is making a shift towards that level of judgment. I think people still do make judgments, but I think they make them less when they're talking to or looking at or in connection with a person who's authentic. Because if you look at like American Idol, so many of the people that have done well are not gorgeous people. They're just real people. They're real people who have a talent that America was able to look at and say, that's worthy. You know, I don't care that they're not a perfect 10. I don't care that they are maybe overweight or that and wouldn't be, by society standards, beautiful or gorgeous or runway model type person,
Right.
or even maybe even the greatest singer in the world. They're not. But they are authentic. And I think that is what people are starting to see more and more, because a lot of those people are rising. The cream is rising to the top.
Right.
Because why? Because they're real.
And if you think it's a shift that's happening even in business with all these big companies like Toys R Us and all these companies that's going out of business. Back in the day, Toys R Us, you looked at that place like it was a place that cared about you and your kid. Like they provided the best things for you and your kid. You know, they were there for you. And then Amazon came out. You like, wait, Toys R Us don't care. They charging me $5 more than they should. So, you know, and all this stuff, so they look, we don't need this no more. And people, the reality start coming to people like, wait, we don't need these big brands like this. No, we don't need, we can go right on the computer and have it shipped to my house. You know, and all these brands now are starting to say, wow, we can't ride off of our big name of we're here for you for years no more.
Right. They tried that.
Right.
And
It's not working because this generation, these people now, they like, look, no, we don't need all that. People recording whole albums in their living room.
right.
Where I had to go to the studio and spend thousands of dollars on the SSL board, a $1 million board to get a sound.
Right.
People are doing it now in their house.
This is
know.
true. This is
Like,
true. Yeah.
and it sounds like I did when I done it over there, you know. So it's just everything is changing now.
It has. It's changed a lot. We're going to wrap this segment up. We'll come back with our concluding segment of the Broad Perspective and our chat with Corey Cofield. So we'll be right back.
BPN. Join the awakening.
The Broad Perspective Network is a portal designed to reveal a new perspective and reality to those who wish to know the truth about the world we live in and our role in it.
BPN. See beyond the illusion.
Welcome back to the Broad Perspective on the Broad Perspective Network. I'm Vivian Kamori, and we are concluding our chat with Corey Cofield here on the importance of so many things, importance of being authentic, and he is an inspirational speaker. He's an entrepreneur. He is a quintessential entrepreneur, and that is something I so respect. And you're a rare breed. A lot of people think they're entrepreneurs and they're not, but you are a real entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You can tell because you're somebody that follows your dream, but you're willing to jump off that cliff. And those of us that I've always said the definition of an entrepreneur is half crazy. You got to be crazy. You've got to be crazy.
Wow.
That's
true.
You risk so much. You just do, and unfortunately, we risk the well-being of not just us but our families too. And sometimes that works, and sometimes our families hold it against us, and sometimes they forgive us. But you can ask any real entrepreneur, and they're going to tell you that their family struggled. I mean, they thought they were crazy as well.
Right.
Yeah.
True. Because I remember my father, when I told him I was moving to California, I was bringing my whole family with me, and I knew nobody here, no job, no house. He just told me, he said, son, that's not right. That's not what you do. I told him, I said, I feel like God want me there. He said, God wouldn't tell you to do that. Because all he could see was no security.
Right.
You know. But I have a twin brother. And it's funny, he always say, I don't know how you do it. Like, I got to know exactly where my income's coming from. And I tell him, I say, you know, it's funny. I do know exactly where my income coming from. It's just different sources that it may flow through. But it's one source. That's how I look at it. It's one source. You know, my faith, I believe in my destiny. Like I believe to me it's swim or swim. Period.
Right.
My mindset is just that. And every time I need something, it shows up. If I need a job, something happens, something show up. Just the other day, I got a call. Hey, we need you to do this. Just when I was a little low. So I mean, you just got to go. And like I said, your provision, I believe, is in your purpose. When you do what you're called to do, the provision shows up. Why? It's just like the yellow brick road, remember, as they on the Wizard of Oz, the Wiz. Once they on the Wizard of Oz, when they walked down that yellow brick road, they automatically got the Oz.
Right.
But the minute they stepped off the yellow brick road, they bumped into flying witches, and wicked witches and flying monkeys. So I mean, that let me know the minute you get off your path is the minute you bumping all these people that you shouldn't be bumping into. But if you stay in your purpose, I think provision just shows up. People come up out of nowhere and do stuff for you, and just stuff show up right on the road or on the road to going.
I think you're right, Corey. And however, the world has a place for people like your brother that has to know where their income is coming from, and they're happy with that. And there are times when I am actually very envious of those kinds of people that have that ability to be satisfied with that, that have that ability to work at the same job for 30 years and retire with a gold watch and a pension. I'll never have that, and that's because I'm a different breed. But I do respect that. I don't know how they do it, but they seem happy to do it.
Yeah, right.
You know, and sometimes it goes from respect to envy. I'm envious that they have whatever that is that I don't possess, that they can be happy with that and be contented to do whatever it is that makes them happy at the end of their days. But I'm not like that. I don't think you're like that. And
I pay for it though, because my brother, he's comfortable. You know, he has a trucking company. You know, he's comfortable, and he's done trucking his whole life. My other brother, my family, you know, I even got in the truck, and I own a truck now. But it's just not something that I could, like you say, just go somewhere every single day or wear some uniform. And oh my goodness, like you say, I admire the people that can do that and work somewhere like that, but I just never been able to get myself to go that way.
Right, because it's not part of your nature.
Right.
You see, we all have different natures. I'm assuming, is your brother a fraternal or maternal twin?
We're fraternal.
You're fraternal. Okay, yeah, I got you. Right. That's why there's that degree of difference.
Right. Yeah. It's something else, but I just always been that way. Always just, like I said, just took another route. I don't know.
Right.
You know, and it's been some issues. My family, a lot of stuff we've we've had to go without in some issues, and then certain things we've had more of, you know. But overall, I believe that me being a person that go out and provide my own is amazing to me. Like, I can't put my whole life into someone else's hand and say they're going to give me a pension or take care of me to a certain point in my life. I just feel I can't feel comfortable doing that. Shouts out to anybody who does.
Right.
And I'm not knocking them. They're not bad people. None of that.
No.
You know. But for me, I'm like, I have to be the person that go out and stick the bushes and see what comes out. You know.
Yeah, no, I totally get it, and I totally respect that, mostly because I relate. But I think that so many people, while we respect other people that can do what they do, I think there's a certain amount of respect that comes towards us because we're that free bird. We're that, which, you know, the cuckoo maybe, but we do have that level of freedom, I suppose you'd say, of freedom of thought, certainly, and freedom of follow through. We're just about out of time. We have a few minutes left, so what would you like for people to remember today?
That your provision is in your purpose. Go after what you meant to do, no matter what. No matter who says what. People say you crazy, your parents, they don't believe in you. None of that. Just go after what you know you called, that feeling deep in your heart to do. And if you need any help, you can reach out to me, Corey the Entrepreneur. We online. CoreyTheEntrepreneur.com is the website. And like I said, you know, I'm willing to help in any way I can, encourage you, give you any of the resources I have. I just want to see people win and do great. So
CoreyTheEntrepreneur.com is your web address.
Correct.
Now, you know most people are not going to be able to spell entrepreneur.
Right. ENTREPRENEUR.
CNEUR. I always get that mixed up.
Yeah.
I'm going to go UER. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. CoreyTheEntrepreneur.com.
Right.
There you go. So, yeah, check out CoreyTheEntrepreneur.com. If you have an event coming up and you'd like a motivational or inspirational speaker, I can attest to the fact that he is extremely good at that. You want somebody to stand in front of you and talk passion and tell you such fascinating stories, Corey's your guy.
Thank you.
He is your guy to do that because you will walk out of there feeling inspired. You will. And your stories, when you talk about them and you tell them about things that you've done in your life or your life experiences, some of them are pretty funny too. You inject some humor in there. So yeah, it's a very pleasing experience. 2 minutes left.
Thank you for having me. And you're an awesome person. Ever since you supported me from day one, and even in Toastmasters. And I just want to say thank you for that.
Well, of course. We entrepreneurs have to support each other.
That's true.
We do, because that's how things work. I firmly believe we're what makes the world tick. We're the crazy people that are out there taking those chances and jumping off the cliff and willing to put ourselves and everything we are and everything we are about on the line. It's a rare breed, and it's probably a lucky thing. It's probably a lucky thing we're so rare.
No more waiting, just go.
Yeah, exactly. And I always encourage people to jump. I do.
Jump.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, jump. Isn't there a Van Halen song? What is that, Van Halen, Jump? Okay, well, see, there you go. Well, Corey, it's been fun. I do encourage people to visit your site, CoreyTheEntrepreneur.com.
Right.
Find out what they can learn about you. Do you publish content on there?
I do.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we got some of my talks on there. Follow me on Instagram at Corey the Entrepreneur.
Okay.
And Twitter and all the other social media.
Okay, they can listen to this interview on the archives and also on the Broad Perspective website. And if you want, you can embed this on your website. You can,
awesome.
You can take this and put it on there. That'd be good for you. Yeah. So all in all, it's been a fun discussion. I think I've learned a lot. I am always happy to visit with Corey, and I think I'd like to have you come back and maybe co-host with me a time or two. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay.
Let's do it.
All righty.
Set it up.
Okay, cool. So in the meantime, I want to thank everybody for listening today, and join us same time, same place next week, where it's all perspective. Join us and broaden yours. Thank you so much for listening.
We hope you've enjoyed today's show. To keep programs like this and other programs on the Broad Perspective Network, go to thebroadperspective.com and click the donate button. We truly appreciate your support.